Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. Make sure to like and subscribe so I could keep putting content out there. I really enjoy this. So today we're going to talk about Mary Kay Letourneau and Vili Fualaau. So some of you guys are from the 90s, 80s. You guys know about this story about the teacher that fell in love with her 13-year-old student. And I thought it was a very interesting case. I knew once I saw it, I knew there was something wrong with this woman. Why would you do this? Destroy your family, destroy your career, and essentially destroy your reputation. And there's so many feelings I have about this, especially because I come from a third world country. Though I was born in America, I was raised in Dominican Republic, and I saw a lot of these age gap relationships that were highly inappropriate between very, very, very young girls with older men. And a lot of it was, she's living in poverty, he's able to provide, so just let it happen kind of situation. And I didn't think anything was wrong with it until I became an adult myself and I had went through an age gap relationship. He wasn't a teacher, however, it was still an inappropriate relationship where he dominated me and had a lot of flexibility because he was an adult and I was a child. And so I didn't understand the implications and how much chaos it was going to bring into my life until the aftermath, right? And that's usually how things happen. You don't realize it's bad until you're out of it. Or while you're in the thick of it, then you're like, oh my God, what shit show that I put myself in, right? So I saw I believe it was a 2020 documentary or maybe a movie. I'm not sure what it was, but I remember seeing them before Mary Kay passed away. Them talking about their relationship and her saying that Vili was the boss, and Vili would say to her that he's the boss, that he's in control, and he was visibly, adult Vili that is, was visibly uncomfortable because he felt like she was kind of overpowering the conversation. She was almost victimizing herself in a way. I don't think she was trying to sound like a victim, but that's how it was coming off, because the way she was saying it, her posturing was very odd. But I could tell in that interview that he already knew that he put himself in this situation. He kind of inadvertently put himself in harm's way. He didn't see it that way because he was in love. His hormones were raging and he didn't see clearly. He didn't see all the things that went down the drain because of the decision they both made. And I don't want to blame Vili in any case. I don't want to blame him. I just want to point out that a lot of this is programming, right? Boys are programmed that it's okay to have a girlfriend who's hot, and it doesn't matter how old she is. It's cool. You know, there are many comments like, if I had a teacher that was hot, like her or any other teacher, I would have been cool with that. If my son would have told me that he hooked up with a hot teacher, I would have high-fived him. And that's from man to son, father to son saying this. And it's very inappropriate. It's very inappropriate because these quote unquote fathers that are saying this a lot of the time are vicariously living through their sons, or they simply do not understand the implications. What if your son gets this 29, 35-year-old woman pregnant? What if your son is being coerced or manipulated to commit a crime because he is so engulfed into this relationship and he is, coochie distracted, right? Because let's be real, an older person is going to show you and do more things with you that a person your age wouldn't. So if Villy was with another girl that was 13, they don't have that much experience unless that girl had been abused before by someone who wanted to try all type of things with her. He would just be doing the regular degular stuff that unexperienced kids do. But when you're an unexperienced kid, or a kid who's been with women that, or girls that are around your age, it's totally different than being with a woman who's 30 something years old, late 20s. They're going to be trying and doing all types of things to you that feel way better because of the experience, right? So I just wanted to bring out the elephant in the room, right? Because everybody knows that this lady was wrong, and they know that older men seek younger girls because they're in authority positions, and you know that these girls admire them, respect them, all that jazz, and they're impressionable, so they're gonna fall right into these guys' laps. But we don't talk about, okay, this is gonna be an unpopular opinion, we don't talk about this unpopular statement, that it is also our responsibility as parents to teach our kids to respect their age that they are in and to not pursue older people, right? We don't really talk about it much with our kids, do we? We only talk about it when it pertains to our child being pursued by an older person or already in a relationship with an older person. But we don't talk to our kids about, do not pursue an older person, even if you have a crush on them, even if they're in your proximity, right? We don't talk about that. We forget that our kids are horny and they're in the mood all the time, probably. And we're living in a very over-sexualized world. So they're going to be thinking about it a lot. And if they're around a certain person, the majority of their year or life, let's say, teacher, nanny, coach, whatever, there can be moments where they may be catching some type of feelings or arousal. Let's be real. I remember when I was 9 years old, I had a diary and I was in love with Ryan Phillippe. I saw him in I Know What You Did Last Summer. And I was like, oh my God, I am in love with this guy. Like, I love him. Around that time, I had gotten my period too. And I remember thinking to myself, wow, I would love to date him. I would love to marry him. But I never thought of myself as an adult marrying Ryan Phillippe. It was just me as a 9-year-old me in a relationship with Ryan Phillippe, who's like 27, 28 years old at the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm just a child. That's how I'm thinking. But I also was adultified. I went through a lot of things that put me in a position to think a little bit ahead of my time. So with Villy, he was pretty much the man of the house, quote unquote, which I think is horrible to say to your kids because that puts a lot of pressure on them. And he was taking care of his little sister, very much coming off like a responsible young man. And I see his pictures when he was 13. The dude had a jawline. He was like 5'11". And I'm pretty sure if he wanted to, he didn't do this, but if he wanted to overpower Mary Kay, he could have. Okay? He did not do that. He pursued her romantically. She responded back. However that went, whether it was her that, started it or he started it, either way, they entertained it. And, like he wrote her love letters, etc. And, she pursued back. Whatever the case may be, it was an inappropriate relationship. However, we have to see that he did not push away. He did not push away. He didn't go, this is weird. I shouldn't be dealing with this woman. And I think a lot of it was the fact that he was adultified. He was adultified. He was made to feel like the man of the house, like he had responsibilities that an older person would have, an adult. And that's why he felt comfortable going for an older woman. Also, he probably wanted a mommy in his life. He wanted someone to take care of him, someone that looked at him as special, you know. And maybe he glorified whiteness, I don't know, but she seeing him, noticing him, looking at him like an adult, like someone who was responsible and handsome, made him feel special. You don't know what he lacked in his household, but it seemed like he lacked a lot. Okay? I don't think he got enough like emotional reciprocity at home, right? Not enough guidance at home. And that's why he fell into this toxic relationship. I really believe that Mary Kay was absolutely wrong. Like, a lot of these adults are wrong for pursuing kids, but kids who are his age, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, they need to understand that it is in their best interest to not pursue adults, no matter how attractive and how much they admire them. They cannot do that because they don't know that they are bringing the chaos into their life. They don't know. Because a lot of times when you're this age, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, you think you know it all because you can get wet, because you get a period, because you can get erect, because you have some facial hair, because you have testosterone. You know what I'm saying? Because you have a jawline, because you have big chest or a big bum. You think that you are an adult because when you look in the mirror, you see one, when you're not. Your brain isn't developed. So we need to talk to our kids about, please do not pursue adults. And I'm telling you this because I used to sometimes be like, oh, I'm feeling this dude. Find out he's 30 years old. And I'm like, whatever. I'm gonna still get his number. You know what I'm saying? And since dudes don't be checking IDs. But again, that was conditioned. I was conditioned to believe that that kind of stuff was appropriate, to date someone that was much older than me when I was a minor. But men are constantly kikiing, yucking, and high-fiving their sons for these inappropriate relationships. I saw the Hodge twins do a segment about how a woman at a hotel room ended up hooking up with two underage hockey players, these 15-year-old boys, leaving her husband in the hotel room so she could get it in. Okay. When I looked down at the comments were, as predicted, men saying, man, they wish it was them. That this is not a big deal. Pretty much everything that I said, men would say. I was not surprised at all. You know, like, the comment that pisses me off the most is, where were these women when I was 15? You know, that annoys me. Or something like, I would have gladly helped out. I would have kept my mouth shut. Like, or some of them saying things like, oh, the other kid didn't get to play. He didn't get some, so that's why he told on them. Maybe he really thought that was inappropriate. Hello? But it's like men continue to gaslight young boys into thinking that pursuing adults or allowing adults to abuse them is okay. And then they're mad when their kids are being abused and treated like trash by these adults, and these adults aren't fully being prosecuted to the extent of the law. You guys have to do something about this narrative. It needs to be talked about. You guys have to address it and double down on it and be like, yeah, these comments are not appropriate. Because if you think it's okay that your 15-year-old is being coerced, or you think it's okay for your teenager to allow an adult to be inappropriate with them, then when your kid turns 29 and they see a 15-year-old girl or 15-year-old boy, whatever, they will feel like it's in their right to be able to do what they want to that teenager because that teenager finds them attractive. That doesn't make sense. It becomes a sick cycle. But they don't see it that way. These guys are vicariously living through these kids that are being abused because they're in sexless relationships or because they're just so sexified. Like they're so desperate for sexual contact. That's how bad it is. But it is a double standard. It is sick. It's wrong. So Billy, he's with this woman for 25 years. You know, I'm sure during that marriage, they had some discussions. He might have forgiven her for some of her toxic behavior, but what was done was done. He had 3-4 kids with her. What can he do? At this point, like, he wasn't put into a basement and locked away. He wanted to be with her. He proposed to her. He married her when he was like 18. Doesn't make it right, but it makes it very clear to me that this is conditioning, that it's okay. This is social conditioning, that it's okay for a young man to be in an inappropriate relationship, and it needs to stop. Young boys, just like young girls, need the same type of protection, and they need to be aware that they could all be targets, and we cannot let it slide anymore. When I look at Billy's face as he's realizing that he's been in a horrible relationship this whole time, it saddens me. It saddens me because I remember realizing that I was in a toxic, horrible relationship and that I was in too deep already. I had a child with this person. But I have the power to raise my kid to respect themselves and not put themselves in this situation. To be aware of what grown ass people are really up to when they're trying to get into inappropriate relationships with young kids. Okay? It makes me sad when I see Billy. I think that he remarried. He's moved on. Mary Kay passed away. And I'm sure he was sad about it. But also there was like an air of relief that he didn't have to be at the will and whim of this lady who was constantly emotional and constantly gaslighting him and manipulating the stories of how they met and why this transpired the way it transpired. So yeah. You guys give me your thoughts on this relationship. Do you see what I'm saying about how, though I absolutely blame Mary Kay for her behavior and her inappropriate contact with this person, with Billy, do you also see that it is our responsibility as adults to teach our kids to not pursue adults? Because let's be real, a lot of these kids do not look like kids sometimes. Billy looked like a kid to me. In these pictures of him as a teenager, he looked like a kid to me. Like a 18-year-old. He looked older, but he still looked like a kid to me. But doesn't it make sense to tell your kids, especially if you see your kid who looks kind of grown, to not try to put themselves in grown situations? Wouldn't it make sense to have these conversations with your kids? That doesn't mean that you're going to be able to stop them, but to be able to inform them. It is imperative that we do that. Can we agree that that's something that we need to do as adults? If so, make sure to drop that in the comments. I want to hear your opinions. What do you guys think about this video? And I'll catch you on the next one. See ya.